Hello everybody, welcome to Israel's Church of Living God. I'm Brother Rodney and Brother Caleb will be reading today. Welcome to everybody that's come out and all those that join us live on Facebook. We are having some issues with our live stream, so we would encourage you, if you want to watch us live, to go on YouTube and pick us up live on YouTube. We're going to do a lesson today entitled The Sabbath Day, 24 hours, not 12. The Sabbath day, 24 hours, not 12. Because, you know, it seems like every month or two there's a different fad going on. It's like somebody always coming up with something new. Right? So we got this fad going on now that the Sabbath day is 12 hours, not 24. I'm like, well, how do you get one day with 12 hours for one day? How do you do this? So now we're going to look in the Bible and show you that the Sabbath day not only is on the seventh day, but it is from evening to evening. You got people saying that the Babylonians, they're the ones who started the 24-hour cycle. Then some people say the Egyptians started it. The Greeks got it from the Egyptians. The Sumerians started it. Don't you know, the Lord know how many days He's going to put, how many hours He's going to put in a day?
Yes, sir.
So we're going to go and show you that it's 24 hours in one day, not no 12. Or the Sabbath day is supposed to be celebrated just during the daylight hours. Now, we're going to start off in Isaiah the 50th chapter, Isaiah 50. And we're going to pick it up at verse 1. Isaiah 50 and 1. When you get it, go ahead and read.
Thus saith the Lord, where is the bill of your mother's divorcement, whom I have put away? Or which of my creditors is it to whom I have sold you? Behold, for your iniquities have ye sold yourselves, and for your transgressions is your mother put away.
Go ahead.
Wherefore, when I came, was there no man? When I called, was there none to answer? Is my hand shortened at all, that it cannot redeem?
He said, wherefore when I came, was there no man? So that this was before man was created on the earth. When I called, was there none to answer? Is my hand shortened at all, that it cannot redeem? Go ahead and read.
Or have I no power to deliver? Behold, at my rebuke I dry up the sea. I make the rivers a wilderness. Their fish stinketh, because there is no water, and death and dieth for thirst. I clothe the heavens with blackness.
He said, I clothe the heavens with blackness. I'm the one who clothed the heavens with blackness. I'm the one who gave you darkness. I clothe the heavens with blackness.
And I make sackcloth their covering.
And I make sackcloth their covering. I'm the one who done this. Let's go now. Let's go to Psalm 104. Psalm 104, and we're going to pick it up in verse 19. Psalm 104 and 19. Because, you know, people want to start the day during the daylight hours. And that's not when the day starts. The day starts at night. That's when the day starts, at night, according to the scriptures. I know we have our time zones, and man has his times and all that stuff. And then Lord said, man, we're going to think to change times and laws. We understand, but according to the Bible, the day starts in the evening. We have Psalm 104, and we're going to pick it up at verse 19. Psalm 104 and 19. You young children, y'all pay attention to this. 104 and 19. Go ahead and read it.
He appointed the moon for seasons. The sun knoweth his going down.
See, he used the moon for the seasons. Moon means months. And so he used the moon for seasons. And that's how we calculate the feast days, according to the new moon. And that's how they calculated the feast days, according to the new moons. But you think they use the new moons and they just use the day? And they ain't use the night? Right. Go ahead and read.
20. Thou makest darkness, and it is night.
He said, thou makest darkness, and it is night. Because the Lord is the one who created the darkness, just like he is the one who created the light. And see, they want to pass right over that, skip the darkness, and go straight to the light. Go ahead and read.
Wherein all the beasts of the forest do creep forth.
Now we're going to Isaiah, the 45th chapter. Isaiah 45. Back to Isaiah. Isaiah 45. And we're going to pick it up at verse 5. Isaiah 45 and 5. Go ahead.
I am the Lord, and there is none else. There is no God beside me. I girded thee, though thou hast not known me, that they may know from the rising of the sun and from the west. And there is none beside me. I am the Lord, and there is none else. I formed the light.
He said, I formed the light,
and create darkness.
And I created darkness. So darkness didn't just appear. He created it.
Yes, sir.
Finish that.
I make peace and create evil.
Oh, you mean God is the one who created evil?
Yes, sir.
Satan didn't create no evil. God did. Finish that.
I, the Lord, do all these things.
I, the Lord, do all these things. He said, I form the light and I create darkness. He made both of them. Let's go to Jeremiah 4, because when it comes to darkness, people want to ignore that. The darkness part, as though God didn't create that. He just created the light part. We had Jeremiah the 4th chapter, Jeremiah 4. We're right on over to Jeremiah the 4th chapter. And we're going to pick it up in verse 22. Verse 22. Nice and cozy in here today.
Amen.
Jeremiah 4 and 22. Go ahead and read it.
For my people is foolish. They have not known me. They are sootheth children. And they have none understanding. They are wise to do evil, but to do good they have no knowledge. I beheld the earth, and lo, it was without form and void. In the heavens, and they had no light.
Now wait a minute now. He said, does it sound familiar? He said, I beheld the earth, and lo, it was without form and void. That sounds familiar, doesn't it? Because this is what was said in the beginning. He said, I beheld the earth, and lo, it was without form and void, and the heavens, and they had no light. So what came first? Was it the light, or was it the darkness that came first? Let's go find out.
Yes, sir.
Let's go find out. Let's go to Genesis, the 1st chapter. Genesis 1 and 1. Genesis 1 and 1, because folks want to start at verse 5. I'm like, well, how you going to just skip past 1, 2, 3, and 4 and go to straight to verse 5? Because you go to verse 5, then you're going to skip the darkness part. Read verse 1, go ahead.
In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And the earth was without form and void. And darkness was upon the face of the deep.
Same thing we just read. Over in Jeremiah. He said, and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. Not that the darkness was in the deep, but the darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the darkness upon the face of the deep, then what was it then? Dark. We haven't even gotten to the light yet. And the earth was without form and void. The earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep.
And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, let there be light.
Stop right there. What was it first, though? It was dark first, wasn't it?
Indeed.
Then he said, let there be light. And he created the light as well as the darkness. And God said, let there be light.
And there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness.
He divided the light from the darkness. Now, you know, they look at this right here and say, he started the day of darkness. At light. No, darkness came first, then he divided, then he gave you light, then he divided the light from the darkness. Verse 5, go ahead.
And God called the light day.
Uh-huh.
And the darkness he called night.
Go ahead.
And the evening and the morning were the first day.
And the evening and the morning were the first day. And, you know, so they say in the evening and the morning, the first day, then that's just 12 hours then. And this is when the day started. It started in the morning. But he said the evening and the morning were the first day. Not the morning was the first day. He said the evening and the morning was the first day. He created light. He created darkness first, then he created light. Skip down to verse 13.
13.
Yeah.
In the evening and the morning were the third day.
Now we on the third day now. I'm sorry, verse 8. Verse 8. Read that verse.
8.
Yeah.
And God called the firmament heaven.
Uh-huh.
In the evening and the morning were the second day.
And the evening and the morning were the second day. So we're just going to show you the days right here, how they lead up to Sabbath. Then I'm going to read you something. Skip down to verse 13. Go ahead.
In the evening and the morning were the third day.
Skip down. Keep reading.
And God said, let there be light in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from night.
Uh-huh.
And let them be for signs and for seasons, and for days and years. And let them be for lights in the firmament of heaven to give light upon the earth. And it was so. And God made two great lights. The greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night.
Stop right there. So what two lights are we looking at? We're looking at the sun and we're looking at the moon. The greater light to rule the day and the lesser light to rule the night, which is the moon. But you got some days are longer than the nights. Like now, we're getting ready to have what they call vernal equinox. They call it spring, but you only see two seasons in the Bible really, summer and winter. So we get ready to go into what they call the vernal equinox, which half of the day will be half of the day is light, which is 12 hours, and the other half is darkness, which is 12 hours. But as the days go on, the light is going to rule the day. And then when the winter time begins, then the darkness will rule the day. And I said that for a reason. But what verse you at?
Man, the middle of 16.
Keep reading.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It says, greater light to rule the day and the lesser light to rule the night. And he made the stars also. And God set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth.
Now that's really something. I mean, our God, he just set it out there. Ain't hanging on nothing. Just set it there. The moon, the sun, and the stars. Go ahead.
18.
And
to rule over the day and over the night. And to divide the light from the darkness, and God saw that it was good. And the evening and the morning were the fourth day.
Now we're on the fourth day now. Skip down to verse 23. Go ahead and read it.
23. And the evening and the morning were the fifth day.
Skip down to verse 31. Go ahead.
31. And God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. In the evening and the morning were the sixth day.
And the evening and the morning was 6 days. So we got the evening, we got the morning. But then in order to get a full day, another morning, you got to go back to the evening, don't you? And that would take 24 hours to do that. Let's go to Genesis, the 2nd chapter. Genesis 2. And we're going to go right into verse 1. Genesis 2 and 1. Go ahead and read it.
Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. And on the seventh day, God ended his work which he had made.
And on the seventh day, God ended his work which he had made. Go ahead.
And he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. And God blessed the seventh day.
And God blessed what day?
The seventh day.
He blessed the first day.
Seventh day.
The seventh day God blessed. Now this is something that God did, now not man. We don't even have a man yet right here.
Make it plain.
God blessed the seventh day. Go ahead.
And sanctified it. Because that in it he had rested from all his work which God created and made.
Now he is the one who set this day apart. I didn't. You understand? People get mad at you because you say God gave you the Sabbath. They get mad at you. Like you the one who gave them the Sabbath. I tell you, man, people are something else. Let's go now. Let's go to, we're going to read something right here. We're going to read about the weekly Sabbath, this cycle right here. Go ahead and read that.
The weekly cycle has never changed.
See, we have never skipped a day. Man has never skipped a day. I know that the Romans had an 8-day week at some point. Like, I think it was like 46 BC or something like that. They had an 8-day week. But then their calendar was so messed up. They was hitting and missing so much, they said, we got to go back to the 7-day cycle. You know why? Because God had put it in order and no man can change it.
Amen.
And that's why the whole world now use a 7-day week cycle. But does that mean that it's only 12 hours in a day? Just because you said, you read over there in John 11 chapter, we're going to read it too, where Jesus said, are not there 7 hours in a day? As though he said, skip the night. But we're going to show you it's 12 hours in a day and it's 12 hours in a night. We don't need no Egyptians and Romans and the Greeks and Sumerians and tell them we can read this right in the book. He said the weekly cycle has never changed. Go ahead and start reading.
The writings of historians, the records of chronographers.
Now, chronographers, those are the ones that observe times and records. Go ahead and read.
The languages of earth, the calendars of time, and the existence of the Jewish race. Stop
right there. Now, the existence of the Jewish race. Now, you know, we're talking about the Edomites, but we know the children of Israel got kicked out in 70 AD, and then here come the Edomites. And they were still keeping the Sabbath. So now you can go back 2,000 years and see that the Edomites were keeping the Sabbath, because Israel lost their identity in 70 AD, and the Edomite Jews picked up our identity in 70 AD.
Make it plain.
And so they continued to keep the Sabbath. So you can go back 2,000 years and see that they were keeping the Sabbath. It was the 7th-day Sabbath, and the weekly cycle has never changed. But go ahead and read some more.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It says, and the existence of the Jewish race all testify to the fact that the weekly cycle on our calendars today is the same as in earlier centuries, going back to the time of Christ, to Moses' and beyond.
To Moses and beyond. So we can at least, we can surely track the time back 2,000 years and see how they kept the Sabbath day and what day they kept it on and everything. But all the records point to there being a 7-day weekly cycle. 7 days. Now, we're going to read something else here. Go ahead and turn that page. We're going to read what the Sabbath is first. Let's read about what day the Sabbath is. What does Sabbath mean?
It says Sabbath, rest day.
Rest day. So that's what the Lord did on the 7th day, isn't it? He rested on the 7th day. And so he's telling us that's what he wants us to do. Rest on the Sabbath day. Go ahead and read.
Rest day or Sabbath of the week.
Or rest day or 7th day of the week. What do we call the 7th day of the week here in this country? Saturday. And I'm sure they got another name for it in Japan and all the other countries, they got another name for it. But we call it Saturday. So what we're going to find out though, does the Sabbath day, does it consist of just 12 hours or 24 hours. So now we're going to read you this right here. Go ahead and read that. Now, just let me say this before you go on. We're not here to discredit nobody or talk about nobody or belittle or none of that. We're in search for the truth. But I already know that ain't no such thing as no 12-hour day Sabbath. I already know that, but we're going to show you in the Bible though. But there's videos out, man. I mean, I was really amazed and shocked that people were really saying this. But go ahead and read some. Go ahead and read that.
It says Sabbath, Yom of Sabbath. 12 or 24 hours.
12 or 24 hours. Go ahead.
I believe that the Sabbath day means, by virtue of Genesis 1:5, the daylight hours of the seventh day.
See, I believe by virtue, according to Genesis 1:5, that daylight hours of the Sabbath day. So he's saying, look, the daylight hours of the Sabbath day, the daylight hours on the seventh day, that's the Sabbath day. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It says Genesis 1:5, the daylight hours of the seventh day, and not the night hours.
And see, and not the night hours. And I'm not picking on nobody, no particular person or nothing like. Well, I'm just reading him because he was the quickest one that I could find. But there's a lot of people out there that's saying this. He says, so the seventh day, the daylight hours of the seventh day, that's a Sabbath day, not the night hours. Go ahead.
This is how day is defined in Genesis 1:5.
See, they just pass up 1 through 4 and go straight to 5. Go ahead and read.
In my article on the Sabbath command, identify an article that supports the ideal that Sabbath is a 12-hour period.
Now, we ain't going to even go and read about his reading his article and all that stuff. We ain't got time to be trying to figure that out. We want to see what the book say concerning this matter. Right. Not what man say. Amen. So now, you got men saying it is a 12-hour Sabbath day. Turn that page. I think it's one more. All right. Go ahead and read that.
Who invented the 24-hour day?
Now we down to the day now. Who invented the 24-hour day? So we got a 12-hour Sabbath day. But now we want to find out, okay, we want to get to the bottom of this when it comes to men. Who invented the 24-hour day? We already know, us as Israelites, we know that the Lord created the day. He created light and he created the darkness. And he gave us the weekly cycle.
Yes, sir.
He gave us the Sabbath day. He gave us the hours of the day. So we're going to read what this man say right here. Go ahead and read.
Yes, sir. It says, who invented the 24-hour day? The Greek astronomer Hipparchus. Was the first to propose a day divided into 24 equal hours.
So they said this guy, Hipparchus, was the first to propose a day divided into 24 hours, equal hours. So he's the one who gave you 12 and 12. And so God don't know how to give you the hours of the day. Where did he get it from?
Hipparchus standardized this system from the Egyptians.
So now they saying that he got this guy here, this Greek, they got it from the Egyptians. Go ahead.
Who also divided the day into 24 hours. But did not use a standard length for each hour.
Now go down to
Hipparchus' system is also known as equinoctial time because it was based on 12 hours of daytime and 12 hours of nighttime on the equinox. See,
so now on the equinox, which comes every spring and every winter, which we call spring, but okay, I just say summer and then winter. You got the equinox, which means in the summer equinox, they call it spring, but I'm just going to say summer. Okay, that you got 12 hours a day and 12 hours of night. Then when the winter equinox comes, you got 12 hours a day and you got 12-hour night. But in the summer equinox, the daytime rules the day. You got more hours of daylight than you got more out than darkness. So in the winter equinox, you got more hours of darkness during the day than in the summer. Everybody understand what I'm saying? Amen. But at the equinox, it's half and half. 12 hours a day, 12 hours a night, straight up. Equal. All right, so we finished with that, right? Yes, sir. I'm trying not to bore y'all, but I just want to make some points here. All right, let's go now. Let's go to John 11th chapter. Right? Let's go to John 11th chapter, and we're going to pick up at verse 9. Now look what Jesus is saying right here. John 11 and verse 9. John 11 and verse 9. Now, you know, some people say, well, that science stuff, y'all, you know, believing in that science stuff. No, this ain't no science. God is the one who done this. Man didn't do this. Man probably figured some things out, but God originally done it. We're at John 11 and 9. John 11 and verse 9. Go ahead and read it.
Jesus answered, are there not 12 hours in the day?
See that? Are there not 12 hours in a day? There are 12 hours in a day. But there's also 12 hours in the night too. And you can't even get day except you had the night first. Because that's the way that God originally set it up. There was darkness upon the earth. Then he said, let there be light. Read that one more time.
Jesus answered, are there not 12 hours in the day? If any man walk in the day, he stumbleth not, because he seeth the light of this world.
Now, so Jesus said, are there not 12 hours in the day? Now, we're going to look at something right here. Let's go to Acts, the 2nd chapter, Acts 2. Because I'm saying, according to what the book right here said, is that not only is there 12 hours in the day, there's got to be 12 hours in the night. And here's why I'm saying that. We had Acts 2 and 1. Acts 2 and 1. Go ahead and read.
And when the day of Pentecost was fully come.
What? How could the day of Pentecost fully come? I thought that the feast days were done away with. This is after Jesus died and rose from the grave and ascended to God. So how could the day of Pentecost fully come? Well, go ahead.
Yes, sir. And when the day of Pentecost was fully come, they were all with one accord in one place.
Skip down to verse 4. Go ahead.
And they were all filled with the Holy Ghost, and began to speak with other tongues, as the Spirit gave them utterance.
Skip down to verse 12. Go ahead.
12. And they were all amazed and were in doubt, saying one to another, what meaneth this?
Now they asking, what's going on? These brothers speaking all these different languages. What's going on? Verse 13, go ahead.
Others mocking said, these men are full of new wine.
They must be drunk. They speak all these tongues, but can't get drunk. Boy, he ain't speaking nothing but gibberish. But they understood what Peter and them was saying. He said, these men must be drunk. They must be full of new wine. Verse 14, go ahead.
But Peter, standing up with the 11, lifted up his voice and said unto them, ye men of Judea, and all ye that dwell at Jerusalem, be this known unto you, and hearken to my words.
Go ahead.
For these are not drunken, as ye suppose, seeing it is but the 3rd hour of the day.
You see what Peter says? Seeing that it is but the 3rd hour of the day. It is the 3rd hour. What is that? The 3rd hour of the day. That's like 6 o'clock in the morning. Right? So he said, look, seeing it is but the 3rd hour of the day. Now, let's look at something else. Let's go to Acts the 23rd chapter. Acts 23. Acts 23, and we're going to pick it up in verse 16. 23 and 16. See, I saw them, read a few scriptures, and the scriptures that they were reading, that it points to what they're saying. It fits their doctrine. But when you look at other scriptures, it doesn't fit their doctrine. Because Peter said, seeing it is the third hour of the day, right? We at Acts 23 and verse 16. Go ahead and read it.
And when Paul's sister's son heard of their lying in wait, he went and entered into the castle and told Paul. And Paul called one of the centurions unto him, and said, bring this young man unto the chief captain, for he have a certain thing to tell him. So he took him and brought him to the chief captain and said, Paul the prisoner called me unto him and prayed me to bring this young man unto thee, who have something to say unto thee.
Now, he said he got something to say unto thee. Because this is Paul's nephew right here. So, you know, the men were going to do something to Paul. So he overheard them saying that they were going to do something to Paul. So he ran off to the chief captain. So the chief captain like, all right, come on in. What you got to say? What verse you at?
19.
Go ahead.
Then the chief captain took him by the hand and went with him aside privately, and asked him, what is that thou hast to tell me?
Now, so now we don't look at all of this. So let's get to the point. Skip down to verse 22. Go ahead.
So the chief captain then let the young man depart, and charged him, see thou tell no man that thou hast showed these things to me.
So what did he show him? Well, he told him that, you know, these men had a vow on them that they were going to kill Paul. That's what he told him. So this guy, he said, well, we're going to have to saddle up here. And we're going to have to go strong and get Paul out of here. Verse 23, what does he say?
And he called unto him 2 centurions, saying, make ready 200 soldiers to go to Caesarea, and horsemen 70, and spearmen 200.
See, they protected Paul. He protected them. Say, we're gonna get 200 horses. We're gonna get some 200 soldiers, right? Go to the Caesarea, and the horsemen 70, and spearmen 200. Well, what time did they do to say they're gonna do that? Read that again.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It says, and he called unto him 2 centurions, saying, make ready 200 soldiers to go to Caesarea, and horsemen 70, and spearmen 200, at the 3rd hour of the night.
At the 3rd hour of what?
The night.
Well, we just read about the 3rd hour of the day in Acts the 2nd chapter, didn't we?
Yes, sir.
Now we got the 3rd hour of the night.
Make it plain.
So now, are there 24 hours in a day? Yeah, it's 12 and 12. That's how you got the 3rd hour of the day, the 3rd hour of night. 12 hours in the day, 12 hours in the night. Otherwise, why was he talking about a 3rd hour in the night? And a 3rd hour in the day, if it wasn't 12. Well, but that's okay, because we're going to go a little bit deeper with this. We're going a little bit deeper with this. Let's go now, because you finished at verse 23, right?
Indeed.
Let's go to Psalms, the 74th chapter. Psalm 74. Psalm 74, and we're going to pick it up at verse 16. Psalm 74 and 16. Go ahead and read.
The day is thine, the night also is thine.
See, both are the Lord's. The day is his and the night is his. Go ahead and read.
Thou hast prepared the light and the sun. Thou hast set all the borders of the earth. Thou hast made summer and winter.
See, it's only 2 seasons mentioned in the Bible. Summer and winter. You don't see spring and fall. That's a man-made ideas right there. Although we say spring and fall, no problem. But I'm just letting you know, these are only 2 seasons that you really see in the Bible. Summer and winter. But he said what? Read that verse again, that verse 16 again.
16.
Yeah, read that again.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It says, the day is thine, the night also is thine. Thou hast prepared the light and the sun. Thou hast set all the borders of the earth. Thou hast made summer and winter.
Now he said the light is yours and the night is yours. It belongs to the Lord. Let's go to Genesis, the 8th chapter. Genesis 8. And we're going to read one verse, verse 22. You know, because men want to separate the day and the night. I mean, the Lord did divide them, but he didn't say, you know, the first day was 12 hours, and the second day, the night part of the day, which is supposed to be divided. I tell you what, I got a question. We got names on all the days, don't we? What's the names on the nights? What's the name? We got Saturday. I'm sorry, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Day, right? What's the name of the nights then? Nobody has no name on no nights. All the names are on the day. You know why? Because that night is the same day.
Make it plain, brother. Yes, sir.
If I say Thursday, I can also say Thursday night.
Yes, sir.
Otherwise, what is the name of that night then? Why is it don't nobody have no name on no night? In no time. So you can't fool me with that stuff. Just like the brother trying to keep calling me. I love the brother because I've been knowing him for 40 years, so I'm going to talk to him, you know. Keep calling me with this stuff talking about all things fulfilled. And the guy that I was supposed to be debating, I ain't heard nothing else from him.
Right.
You can't fool me with this stuff. So we're gonna go a little bit deeper with this. Read Genesis 8:22. 8:22. Go ahead and read it. What does it say?
While the earth remaineth seed time and harvest, and cold and heat, and summer and winter, and day and night.
And what?
And day and night.
It's not gonna cease.
Shall not
day
cease.
and night shall not cease. We've always had day and night. They go together, just like the sun and the moon. The Lord just used the sun to light the day, and He used the moon to light the night. But we need both, though. You can't get to the daytime unless you got night first, because that's what the Lord started off with, night, and He created it. It didn't just appear. God created it. Then He said, "What? Let there be light." In the evening and the morning were the first day. We're gonna go deep, a little deep with this. I don't want to go too deep because we're gonna deal with the Passover coming up on April the 10th, where we're gonna show you a little bit more. But He said, "Look, while the earth remaineth in seed time and harvest, and cold and heat, and summer and winter," there go those two seasons again. Summer and winter. Didn't say nothing about spring or fall, did it? Summer and winter, and day and night shall not cease. So we've always had day and night, summer and winter. We've always had it. Let's go now. Let's go to Jeremiah, the 33rd chapter, because you know God made a covenant with day and night. He made a covenant with it. So you can't do away with God's covenant. You're going to just grab the daytime and say, skip the night. God didn't do that, and neither, well, you can do it if you want to. It ain't going to make no sense, but you can go ahead and do it. But I'm going to stick with what the book says. I'm going to stick with how God put things in order. We had Jeremiah 33 and 20. Jeremiah 33 and 20. Go ahead and read it.
Thus saith the Lord, if ye can break my covenant of the day and my covenant of the night.
Stop right there. See, God even made a covenant with day and with night that is not going to cease. And we still have day and night. It has not stopped. That's how we know our God is God. Because look, first he created the darkness. Then He turned around and created the light. Then He turned around and made the great whales and the seas and all that stuff. Then He turned around and put man on the earth. And Moses wrote of this. And how did Moses know all of this? How could he have known all this? How did Jeremiah know this except they got this from God? Moses wasn't there in the beginning, so how did he know to write all of this? Everybody understand what I'm saying? How do you know how to write all of this? How do you know Adam's name and Eve and, Methuselah? How do you know all these names? Because Moses is the one who wrote this. Go ahead, man is not that wise. Moses was a wise man, but he couldn't come up with no story like this. Go ahead and read. What verse you at? Read that verse 20 again. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Thus saith the Lord, if ye can break my covenant of the day and my covenant of the night, and that there should not be day and night in their season.
Go ahead. In their what?
In their season.
They're coming in their season. Go ahead and read. Skip to verse 25. Verse 25. Go ahead.
Thus saith the Lord, if my covenant be not with day and night, and if I have not appointed the ordinances of heaven and earth, then will I cast away the seed of Jacob, and David my servant, so that I will not take any of his seed to be rulers over the seed of Abraham.
Now, so he said, look, he got a covenant with day and with night, and he appointed the ordinance of heaven and the earth. God did this. Finish that.
So that I will not take any of his seed to be rulers over the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. For I will cause their captivity to return and have mercy on them.
So, he said, if you can break these covenants, you can do away with this covenant, then I will cast the seed of Jacob and David, my servant, so that I will not take any of his seed to be rulers over the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. For I will cause their captivity to return and have mercy on them. Let's go now. Let's go to Deuteronomy, the 5th chapter. Because, like I said, God is a covenant God, and he put a covenant inside of a covenant. And this was so important to him, the Sabbath was so important to him, that he put it in the 10 Commandments. He put it in the 10 Commandments. That's how important the Sabbath is. And that's why I can't understand why people saying now that you don't have to keep the Sabbath. God thought it's so important that he put it in the 10 Commandments.
Yes, sir.
We had Deuteronomy 1, Deuteronomy 5 and 1, Deuteronomy 5 and 1. When you get it, go ahead and read it.
And Moses called Israel and said unto them, Hear, O Israel, the statutes and judgments which I speak unto your ears this day, that ye may learn them and keep and do them.
Go ahead.
The Lord our God made a covenant with us in Horeb. The Lord made not this covenant with our fathers, but with us, even us, who are all of us here alive this day.
Skip down to verse 6, because he said he made a covenant with us, the children of Israel. Skip down to verse 6. Go ahead.
I am the Lord thy God, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt, from the house of bondage. Thou shalt have none other gods before me.
Skip down to verse 12 and read.
Keep the Sabbath day to sanctify it.
Keep the Sabbath day to sanctify it. See, God is the one who gave you this. Keep the Sabbath day to sanctify it.
As the Lord thy God hath commanded thee.
As the Lord thy God hath did what?
Commanded
thee. So, people think they can keep the Sabbath keepers, think that they can keep the Sabbath when they want to. God commanded you to do this. He didn't say you can keep it if you want to, if you felt like it or not. God commanded you to keep this. And as a servant of God, how could you be a servant of God and you can't do the basic thing like keep his Sabbath? If you're not keeping the Sabbath, then how are you serving God? How are you serving God? Our churches should be full on the Sabbath day. But yet you got our brothers and sisters that say they serving God, but then when it comes to the Sabbath, they don't show up. But they'll run around town telling everybody about thus saith the Lord and everything. But then somebody asks you, look, man, well, are you keeping the Sabbath? Well, I do sometimes. See, you can't keep the Sabbath when you want to or when you feel like it. You got to keep the Sabbath every Sabbath. Unless you sick or something like that, you just can't make it. Not because you don't feel like, oh, I don't feel like keeping the Sabbath today. I'd rather sleep. I'd rather rest. And that's how people think. Oh, I don't feel like going today. This is not whether you want to or whether you don't want to keep the Sabbath. The Lord commanded you to keep the Sabbath. What verse you at?
13.
6
days thou shalt labor and do all thy work. But the Sabbath day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God.
See, he said this over and over and over. The seventh day is the Sabbath of thy Lord thy God. Not the first day. You can't show me one time in the Bible where the Lord said, wherefore the first day of the week is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. You can't read that. And how can you call yourself a Christian, right? And you say you serving the God of this Bible, but then when he commands you to do something, you say, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep the first day of the week. As though God is going to accept that. When he commands you, otherwise, if he commands you and you have to do nothing, then everybody can just keep whatever day they want as a Sabbath. I keep Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, whatever, as a Sabbath.
That's right.
Just like you keep Sunday, I can keep Wednesday then. But then if I start talking about Wednesday as a Sabbath, everybody gonna look at me, the whole world will look at me like I was crazy. Even the Sunday worshipers would look at me like I was crazy. But go ahead and read. What verse you at?
Back at the top. 14.
Uh-huh.
But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord